let me talk about why I'm here. The governor's giving his State of the State address today, and we've been going all over the state of Ohio in the last few days to talk about what's really been going on in reality with the state. Because I'll tell you what has been just such a contrast of what we've seen in the last few years in the way that the governor talks about the economy. When Governor Kasich talks about the economy, and this is a quote, this is a direct quote, he says that the economy in Ohio is a miracle. It's a miracle how great the economy is. And I've gone in every single county in Ohio and I've just asked people a simple question. I've asked them to raise their hand if they feel like the economy in Ohio is a miracle. Anybody? Look, anybody that's in touch with reality, anybody that talks to people that work for a living, anybody that talks to anybody that's not basically a millionaire living off of Wall Street would never say that this economy is a miracle. We've got a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck in Ohio. We've got a lot of people working 2 and sometimes 3 minimum wage jobs. The minimum wage doesn't pay what it used to. You've got over 400,000 people, looking for work right now in Ohio. In the last year, while the unemployment rate was going down for the rest of the country, it went up in Ohio. We were ranked 45th in the country in job creation right now. 45th. That's not a miracle. That is not a miracle. And anybody that's in touch with reality would never say it's a miracle. Now you look at the situation that's going on with just this with the UAW workers, who I'm very proud to have their support, and the jobs here at Lockheed. Going to lose about 500 jobs in the next couple years. Going to have maybe 70 jobs are going to remain. And the governor has really not stepped up, met with the folks here, and said, what can we do? Is there anything additional we can do to try to save these jobs? Now some people would say, well, that's just a decision by the company. Well, why are they deciding to locate those jobs in other states instead of right here in Ohio? And by the way, when the auto industry needed rescuing, there were some people that lined up in support of the auto industry, and there were other people that said, no, just let it go bankrupt. And John Kasich was one of those people. He said that investing in the auto industry, and this is a quote, was throwing good money after bad. Now, the other day, he was at a press conference where he was talking about putting Ohio money behind a Chinese company that was expanding manufacturing. If we can take state money and put it behind Chinese companies, can't we put it behind American companies? Wouldn't that be reasonable? And he's got an opportunity to do this. I want to tell the guys, everybody here, and the guys here behind me as well, about a meeting that I had yesterday that I think kind of sums the whole situation up. Although you're facing the same situation here in the Akron area. But I was down in southeast Ohio in a little town called Hannibal, Ohio. They've got a company there that's an aluminum processing plant. It's represented by the United Steelworkers. It's called Ormet. Some of you have probably heard about it. They lost 1,000 jobs. In about August, they lost about 1,000 jobs. Now, the governor and his people went down to Ormet about a year ago, and they asked the union to make concessions. They said if the union made concessions, and if management cut costs, the state would come in and do their part and make sure that those 1,000 jobs would be saved. So what happened? The union made concessions, management cut costs, the state didn't do anything. The jobs are gone. There's about 12 guys now trying to maintain a plant that used to employ 1,000 people. So the next thing that the workers did was they asked John Kasich to come down and meet with them, to meet with the union, to meet with management, to meet with local community folks, and get personally involved and say, is there some kind of way that we can still save these jobs? They asked that in August, September, October, November. Never showed up. He never returned a telephone call. Now, I was already running for governor at the time, and I had people say, you should hurry up and get down to Ormet and show people that you care about it. And I said, you know what? I want to I want to give the governor the chance to do the right thing, because I'm sure, and I really was, I was positive that he would never actually refuse to meet with people that have been laid off. Management or labor, by the way. I mean, he wasn't meeting with management either, or even returning a telephone call. So I waited. Finally, in December, I went down there and I met with the workers. And yesterday, I was down there again. I've been there twice. Look, it's only a couple-hour drive from Columbus. When you've got a governor that not only is he not stepping up when American workers need help, but when they're just saying, can you at least give us the common courtesy and the respect to meet with us, and maybe there's something that can be done? Can you at least do that for us? He won't even do that. Now, the 1,000 workers that lost their jobs, they ended up collecting 10,000 signatures of people in the community, and they were all basically asking the same thing. Will the governor at least come down and meet with us and talk with us? 10,000 signatures, and he still won't do it. He still hasn't done it. How do you defend that? How do you explain that? If I were governor of Ohio, you couldn't keep me away. You wouldn't have to ask. I'd be there, because it's part of what your job is. If you're a mayor or a county official or a councilman or a governor, and you're losing jobs like that, like we are in this state, like the folks that are working at Lockheed are on the chopping block right now to lose their jobs. The governor ought to be here personally, get everybody around the table and say, is there any stone that has been left unturned? Is there anything else that we can do? The only time this governor will show up is when there's good news. So when there's a plant opening or something like that, he's happy to show up. But when people are hurting, when they need his help, he is missing in action. He is nowhere to be found. He ought to be embarrassed that workers have to get signatures to beg him to come down there. He got elected, folks, in 2010, and Ted Strickland was the governor at the time. And there was a big plant closing that happened in the Dayton area, DHL. Some of you remember that. And when DHL shut down, Governor Kasich, and again, I'm going to quote him like I have a couple times here today. Governor Kasich said that if he were governor, he would sit on the hood of the car of the CEO of DHL to prevent the company from leaving, if that's what it took. That's how determined he was going to be to make sure that jobs didn't leave the state. Well, now that our unemployment rate is going up, now that we're 45th in the country in job creation, now that you have people being laid off who have worked hard for a living their whole lives, who've played by the rules, paid their taxes, didn't ask for handouts, didn't ask for special treatment, whether it's down in Ormet or whether it's here at the Lockheed facility here, where is he? I mean, I can tell you, I was driving in here as I was rushing to get down here. I didn't see him sitting on the hood of any of the cars there. He's going to be giving a speech tonight where he's going to be congratulating himself about what a miracle it is in Ohio. And it's just not reality. So our job in this campaign is going to be to tell the other side of the story about the people that are still struggling to make it. And it's a privilege for me to be supported by people like that. The people behind me work for a living, and they've worked their whole lives. And they didn't have a career like John Kasich, where he was in Congress and then he became a millionaire working on Wall Street. These guys know what a real day's work is. And it used to be in Ohio that you would be in the middle class if you had a work ethic. If you believed in hard work, you would be in the middle class and stay in the middle class. And we're starting to lose that because we've put people in charge of our state government who don't value that and don't understand it. And when they have an opportunity to step up, they don't step up. Now, it doesn't mean, by the way, John Kasich doesn't represent anybody, because he does step up when his friends are affected. So when it's a big corporation or a CEO that he is close to, he'll do all kinds of things for them. But when it's an average working person, they're just not on his radar screen. And the one thing that you want out of a governor is that every single day when they get up and go to work, they say, what can I do to make it a little bit better for people that actually work for a living? We don't have that now in the governor's office. We're going to have it after this November when we get a new governor. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming. Thanks, guys.